Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Shadow Wraith, and today I'm going to be going over, or continuing with, should I say, the how to win scenarios that I've been doing. And we have got scenario 7 to 9 to cover today. It's pretty simple. I'm going to go over the scenarios, the victory conditions, and what armies excel. Okay, and it can kind of help you out if you've got an event coming up, and you can kind of keep this in mind and go, that might work. And then at the end of this, I'm going to do an overall, couple of armies that would be perfect for all these scenarios. Okay, so it won't be like a top faction, but ones that will perform playing the scenario. Okay, jumping straight in, we've got scenario 7. It is called Seize the Prize. Now this one is absolutely lovely, because I'm only combat armies, really combat-y armies, so I love it when people come to the centre. That's exactly what I want them to do. And how it works is you've got a single 25mm marker in the centre of the board, and that is the artifact. You both deploy 12 inches on either side of the board edge. Full armies, basically alternating warbands, usual setup. Okay, and then you roll off the priority. Okay, the game lasts until either a model carrying the artifact carries it off the board via their opponent's board edge, or both forces have been reduced to 25% of their starting number. And then it just goes off who scored the most victory points. Of course, it's good. Pretty simple, pretty simple. Now, for the victory points, the main thing. If you have a model within your own board edge that is carrying the artifact, you score 3. Okay? If you instead have a model with the artifact in your opponent's board half, you score 5. And if your model carrying the artifact managed to move it off the board via your opponent's board edge, you instead score 7. Right? Okay, that's not bad. And remember, it's until, so that'll be the last thing you do. Okay, so if you're losing on victory points, which I don't know how you could be, you won't be. Okay? But you want to run it off, because that's an instant win. Now, the other one is you get 1 point for wounding the enemy leader, and 2 points if you kill them. And then 1 point if the enemy force is broken, and 3 points if they are broken and you are not. Simple, okay? The artifact. The artifact must be dug up out of the soil before it is carried anywhere. So you've got to get an infantry model into base contact, and at the end of the move, they may attempt to free it. They roll a d6 on a 4+, the artifact has been freed, and it's treated as a light object. That's it. And might cannot be used to influence the roll. Only one model from each side may attempt to pick up the artifact each turn, so you can't just mob it and go, all these guys are going to try it, roll 7 dice or whatever ridiculous, and one of them might roll a 6. No. Now, what you want for this one is you want a pretty swift army. Okay? It doesn't have to be ridiculously swift, because cavalry can't pick up this artifact unless you want to dismount. Sure, you can do. So some cavalry will be quite good. What I like to do in this scenario is I do try and bring cavalry in every game I do, and the cavalry is quite good at screening. So if you chuck your cavalry straight up there, screen the artifact, they'll have to get through your cavalry to get to the artifact. Okay? But basically, it's just about moving forward. So you want plenty of might. So don't bring a army where it's only got one leader. So I don't know, the Dark Denizens of Mirkwood, where you can only have the Spider Queen. So you've only got 3 might, because you want to use maybe 2 of those might. So heroic march your way up. Failing that, try and get a war drum, because you get a heroic march for free, basically. Perfect. War drum your way up, or heroic march your way up, and sit on that objective. You want to sit it. You want to control it. You want your shield wall, or whatever you've got, in front, so your opponent can't get to that. So he can kill some of your men, and you hold him off whilst you keep trying to get that artifact up. Once that's done, you just want to screen your opponent back. Okay? And keep him off this guy, and try and escort him round one of the flanks. Best way, if you've got the punching power, you can try and punch through their army. Sure, you probably won't do it because they'll probably break by then, but hey. So, I mean, speed only works in the first part of this scenario. Yeah, you want an army that can, do some damage, but just don't be super squishy. Like, goblins are alright, you can be super squishy, but they've got the numbers, so perfect. So if you get a random goblin in, and you chuck a Balrog in their face, they're going to have to try and deal with the Balrog. And your Balrog can heroic combat his way around and stomp on things whilst goblins are tying up the rest. Yeah, you just want one of those boggy armies. They work really well as well. So yeah, that's basically, you want to be able to quick get to the artifact before your opponent does. If you've done that, you've got a pretty solid chance of winning the game. Okay? I mean, even if you think you can quarter your enemy and then run him up, go for it. But if you don't, I mean, yeah, it's quite hard. Quite a hard one. But you can cheese it, absolutely, if you're playing good forces. And I think I mentioned this in one of the videos. And, I mean, you can be that guy if you want to, if it's in a tournament. Sure, why not? I haven't done it, but I know people who do. You get the Wanderers in the Wild as allies to your force, whatever you've got. Ministerial are quite good if you have a certain character. I can't remember off the top of my head. But you bring Tom Bombadil or both him and Goldberry and just sit on that objective as quickly as you can. And once you've done that, they can't touch it. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. They can't touch it. So if you bring Tom Bombadil and Goldberry, and I think you might have to bring the Dwarfs as well. So you're dedicating quite a few points to this. But you can easily cheese this scenario. You sit them on the objective, so they can't dig it out because they can't go within their control zones. And then once one of your infantry have dug it up, so Tom Bombadil, Goldberry can't. So once any other infantry model, maybe one of the dwarves that you brought because they were like defense 8, digs it up, you then escort them with Tom Bombadil and Goldberry all the way back over your opponent's board edge. Because they probably won't be able to get into combat with you if you're screening them with one model. So there's a control zone, so they have to charge that one model, who will be probably the other dwarf, because he's defense 7, or a hero. A hero's a good escort, or because they're pretty tough. And they can't charge you from the front, because no one can touch Tom Bombadil or Goldberry. They can't hurl anything towards you or anything like that. They can't stop you. It's absolutely bonkers. So yeah, that's a horrible way of doing it. Happy days. There you are. That's scenario 7. Done. Now, we've got scenario 8, Contest of Champions. And this is absolutely nuts, this one. So basically, your deployment zone is all the way up to the halfway point of the board edge. Okay? And what you have to do is you have to have your leader within 3 inches of the centre. Awesome. Okay? Then you start rolling for warbands. So on a 1 to 3, all models in that warband must be deployed in the deployment zone within 12 inches of the centre line of the board. So up front, on a 4 to 6, you can do them anywhere. But let's be honest, 9 times out of 10, you want to support your leader up front. And the victory points is you keep count of how many kills your leader scores. So the only things that don't count are kills that are caused by shooting or magic or the hurl brutal power attack. So you can't get any from that. You score 3 victory points if your leader's killed more than your opponent's leader. And then you score 5 if it's twice as much, and 7 if it's 3 times as much. Perfect. You score 1 victory point if your leader caused 1 or more wounds on the enemy leader, so it's leader on leader, or 3 wounds if you killed the enemy leader. And then 1 point if the enemy force is broken, and 2 victory points if they're broken and you're not. So, this is really simple. You want a monster of a hero. Let me think. The Balrog, if you're playing Moria. The Balrog will be really good in this. So Moria is a pretty high contender. They've come up quite a lot in a few of these scenarios. So he's really good. King Elisar is an absolute monster with his 4+ to wound lightsaber. So yeah, anything that's got some real brutal hitting power. Now the reason King Elisar is amazing because he's got the 3 point of might and he can heroic combat every turn for free. Basically, so you can really rack up some kills. Balrog's exactly the same, just better at killing because he's a monster. And then you've got Elendil, who's got Narsil, and basically it's a master forged hand and a half sword, but it allows him heroic combat free every turn. That is absolutely phenomenal. So anything that can continuously kill stuff is perfect. So we're talking things like, so they're the top 3 I'd go for. So you want Strider / King Elisar, Elendil, the Balrog. They're my top 3 contenders. Absolutely, without a doubt. Then, failing that, you want stuff that can kill stuff really easily. So you've got like the Troll Chieftain from the Black Gate opens Legendary Legion. He's really good because he's got an extra point of might and stuff. Any hero that's quick killy. So you've got Durin, who's got a Master Forged 2-handed axe. That's +1 to wound, rerolling 1s. because he is Baradurt, and that's their army bonus. Yeah, the list is pretty much endless. I mean, even like Delgamar, he can be quite good because he's got Stalk and Scene, so he can hide quite a bit. And then he's got Bane of Kin, so he's re-rolling to wounds, and he's +1 to wound against anything that's trapped. So he could do it. But just stuff with loads of killing power, really. Really, okay? Even the Witch King on Fellbeast. Sure. Why not? So you get the idea. But on top of that, you want to be slightly tough as well. So King Elisar over Strider because of the defense. Elendil's a tank anyway. And the Balrog's really hard to take down. Really, really hard. So yeah, you want to be tough. And you want to be able to kill a lot of stuff. And let's be honest, you can literally just completely wipe your opponent and just keep killing and killing and killing. If you've got a really killy hero and you outkill your opponent, then and get 7 points because you've got 3 times as much, you've auto won the game. If you kill their leader, I mean that's objective number 1. Kill as much stuff as you can whilst killing their leader. Don't even worry about your leader killing their leader. If you can kill them as soon as possible, because they're going to want to be getting up into your ranks to get kills. Happy days. Because, I mean, sure, you get 2 points if your leader kills them, but on top of that, you're denying them a lot of victory points by killing him. So even if you've got your, I don't know, goblins on him, and you pinned him, and you've got something else to kill him, and you kill the enemy leader, sure, you don't get 2 points, but you stop them from, like, negating your points. So if you've killed, like, at least 3 models, you've got triple, pretty much, and they haven't killed any. Awesome. That's what you want. That's what you want. You want a solid hero. So do not bring Saruman, because he only does magic and he's pants in combat. Absolute pants. Do not bring Saruman. Gandalf, I mean, he's okay, actually. He's not bad. Yeah, things like that, you know? And don't, I mean, if you're running a really silly army, like, I don't know, not silly, but Shire, I mean, you're probably not going to do too well anyway, but, it's up to you. That's how you win. You need a really good leader. And that's pretty consistent about across all the scenarios. You want a solid leader that can take a hit but can also fight back. Awesome. Now, moving on, we have got scenario 9, capture and control. And this is a fun one. Now, basically, the deployment is you've got half the board edge and you roll a dice for each warband. On a 1 to 3, you need to be within 12 inches of the centre of the board. And a 4 to 6, you can go anywhere. Now, you lay down objectives, and there's 1 in the centre, and there are 4 more that are evenly spaced in kind of, you know, it's like north, south, east, and west kind of way of doing it. So there's objectives. You've got 1 in your deployment, and 3 in the centre line, and 1 in your opponent's. Awesome. It's pretty simple. And the way you score objectives in here is you score 2 points per objective you control at the end of the game, so it's an end game scoring. 1 point for causing 1 or more wounds to the enemy leader or kill them, so you only get 1 no matter what. And 1 victory point if the enemy force is broken. So it's all about the objectives in this. So you can't break your opponent and kill their leader and then go, screw it, I don't care about the objective. And the game won't end until 1 force has been broken, and then you roll a dice. On a 1 to 2, the game ends, otherwise it keeps going. So, for this, you want, obviously, some speed. So, if you've got cavalry available, you need some cavalry. You need something that can move around. Something with fly, even better. And, I mean, the way I play this is I kind of try and sit on my 2 objectives for as long as I can and try and force a fight for the opponent to come to me. So, if the opponent does come to me, happy days, I'm quite happy to sit there fighting. Meanwhile, I've got either a couple of units that can fly, so bat swarms, or, you know, anything that would fly, or I've got some cavalry that are being shielded on the wings. And the best thing you can do is probably, you can kind of guarantee they're going to stick 1 or 2 on their own objective. So, if you've got a squad of 5 cavalry, keep them back until you think, this is going to start turning towards the end, and then peg them straight towards the enemy's objective. Because no matter what, if you control 3 objectives, you're probably going to win the game, because that's 6 points, and they can only score 2 for the other 2 ways. So yeah, basically, you can also deny them objectives. So you can also peg your cavalry up, and try and, all you have to do is tap base contact onto maybe 2 objectives, whilst holding 2. and they won't score those objectives. So it's all about being quick in this one. So yeah, you don't want anything too slow. Dwarves, sorry mate, you're out. But anything, I mean, Moria can be really quick, along with Azog's Legion with their Goblin Mercenaries. They can pop up wherever they want at the start. That's pretty handy, because then you put threat on two sides. Yeah. And then Cavalry. Obviously, Cavalry are really, really ideal for this. So if you're playing a fully mounted Rohan list, I mean, you're probably going to do alright. Your opponent will hate you, but you're probably doing alright, because you can jump on all the objectives. On top of that, you could also go for the strategy of trying to be as quick as possible, and then just shielding as many objectives as you can. So spread yourself thin. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. It's entirely what army you're going for. So if you're playing things like Dwarves, your best option really is to try and take the two you've already, the one in your opponent zone, and then I'd probably go for the centre and a heavy flank on one side. So you'll hold 3 objectives. Okay, if you hold 3 objectives, you should be okay, because Dwarves are tough as nails, and you should be able to break them. Okay, so that's if you've got a slow one. If you're rolling with a horde army like Moria or whatever, just swarm the board, send the Balrog straight up the middle if you've got the Balrog, and just kill everything. Go for their objective on their end of the board, and just, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So you want numbers, because that's always good, because if you've got the numbers and you can deny them from getting the objective, happy days. Because, I mean, this game will end on a 1 or 2 if one of you's broken. So there is a chance you can get yourself broken, but still be in base contact with more objectives than your opponent and win. Awesome, because they'll only score 2, 4, So yeah, that's it. That's my advice on these. So you want something fast and something adaptable. So something that can quickly fly. Different, strategy on the end of the game when it's drawing to an end. But don't strike too early. You don't want to sit on all the objectives and slowly get beaten to a pulp. Okay? You want to be able to shoot and strike. Okay? So if the opponent will actually sit on 3 objectives, cool, take them. But I wouldn't try and spread yourself too thin. Just harass the other 2 and try and get into base contact as much as you can with the objectives. Happy days. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And please let me know your thoughts on each of these scenarios. Obviously, there's a new scenario book, which I will be covering after this one's done. So, saying that, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.